Ika Tulit Jeed is from Indonesia, and her dog is focused on something she can't see, something she thinks is paranormal. The dog's making some weird noises at something, but paranormal? Let's see.
Kayak dia ngomong sendiri. Nah, lihat. Lihat. Dia tidak tahu dia lihat apa di situ, nah. Ini nih, dia lihat di sini nih. Tidak tahu ada apa ya.
I can't say that I see anything in the corner, which is creepy, but with that said, I've seen dogs act like this when they're expecting to get a reward.
I came from Albuquerque, and he was in the military and in Vietnam. I told them that Charles was not my boyfriend, he was a friend of mine that I was helping out.
Maybe she taught her dog to hold a pose to fake this paranormal video. If so, very clever. This entry is a double dose. The first video comes to us from YouTuber Black Cat in November of 2021. The cameraman is filming from outside a bedroom. At first everything is still and silent. Then the wardrobe doors swing open and close. Plastic bags and other objects are all tossed out of it. They aren't tumbling out. They're literally being ejected. When the cameraman enters to investigate the wardrobe, you can see there is shelving that would prevent anyone of a normal size from hiding in there, out of view, and throwing the stuff out. As the camera pans over the wardrobe, noise is heard from behind the cameraman, who jerks around to find a bunch of papers being dispelled from I'm not sure where. While this poltergeist mystery goes unsolved, let's turn to the next one. Published by Nikki McMillan in November of 2021, this security footage was captured at Nikki's workplace. Fine porcelain and glassware is encased in glass in the shop. Nobody is around. Then a solid frame decides to skydive from a shelf in the hallway. There's nothing behind the frame, and nothing on the shelf that would have caused it to spring overboard. A closer view of the shelf makes this all the more mysterious. Like the activity in the other video, the frame does not look like it just tumbled from the shelf. It appears as though it's being actively ejected. What witchcraft is at play here? Are these just random tumblings? Or are these entities actively poltergeisting? A rough landing in Buckland, Alaska becomes even scarier when you learn all of the things the pilot said. The fact that anyone is alive is a miracle. They were trying to keep the plane from sharply veering to the right and colliding with everyone below. The plane's steering was off and nobody knew to get out of the way, and it's not like planes have horns or anything, so there was no way to tell them that they were in the way, while everyone on the ground was folding their arms and waiting. The pilot was freaking out and applying a maneuver called asymmetric reverse thrust. Basically, he reversed the engines to change the trajectory of the landing. It cost him a wheel but spared others their lives. So the lesson of this scary video is to assume the worst and give planes plenty of room to land. Situations like this don't always have happy endings. This PlayStation 4 keeps restarting all by itself and makes a creepy noise at the end of the video that it didn't make at all before. I know a lot of you already know what a PS4 turning on sounds like. I just thought it was weird because mine has never made that noise, but maybe yours has. I see this is a special edition console, so maybe that's why. The Borgwanet House, built in 1876 in Sweden, is said to be one of the most haunted places in the world. Scratching, knocking, and screaming comes from the walls, not to mention shadow figures and objects moved by a ghost. The first reports of paranormal activity were in 1927, and they've continued ever since. Dima Maslenikov wants to document any and all paranormal activity on camera. It does not take long. The house is still when he hears a weird noise. It sounds like an EVP of a distant scream. He gets up and looks in the room. Two knocks, both coming from this door. He sets up a toy for a ghost to play with that also has a motion sensor.
Честно говоря, вот про эту комнату я толком ничего не знаю. И про нее помню.
Not only does the motion detector fall off, it continues to stay on for a full 3 seconds. When he turns around, something was in the room with him, a paranormal entity. There wasn't anyone in the room. The bear falls over on its own. Next, he finds an infamous old rocking chair that's said to be the center of a lot of paranormal activity. He takes a flash Polaroid and notices a large dark shadow hanging over it, a shadow that does not look like it was cast by the chair because it's in front. He tries to recreate the lighting conditions and is unable to make the same round shadow appear. No matter how many pictures he takes, it never comes close to being like this one. This does seem to indicate that it's a shadow figure caught on camera in the first photo. The investigator summons his courage and goes exploring the second floor of the Bourgoinet house. As he's watching the ceiling light moving by itself, a ghost pushes him. Watch for the camera blur as it walks by. That's when he notices a heavy piece of furniture has been pushed in front of a door. Someone was trying to keep something from getting out of its room. He moves the barricade and looks inside. It's an attic space with a small table for someone small to eat at by themselves. The space is empty. Whatever they were trying to keep inside has already left, so the legend spoke of shadow people, screaming and knocking from the walls, and objects moving by themselves. It's hard to believe it, but he really does seem to have encountered all of the creepy stuff in one visit, and it all somehow seems real. This gray fish is frozen solid and obviously not moving at all. Yet within 20 seconds of being put in this liquid solution, something bizarre happens.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure this is nothing more than warm water, but maybe there's some sort of chemical in it that can bring frozen animals back to life. Then again, maybe this fish just hibernates for the winter and comes back to life naturally when the temperature warms. Let me know what you think is going on here. And if you think what you've seen is a miracle like the uploader of this video claims, there's the spirit hiding, posted to the Ghosts subreddit by Leonardo da Fuzzy. This ghost hunter is about to find out. After hearing noise in an adjacent room of this abandoned home, the ghost hunter ventures inside, and then this happens. Something is behind this locked door trying to get out.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. أعوذ بكلمات الله التامات من شر ما خلق. هذا كيف؟
The ghost hunter moves forward and pulls the door open, but there's nothing inside. He steps further in, and despite the fact that there's no one there, even more poltergeist activity happens. Scaring him out of the room. He returns only for the same thing to happen again.
ايش هذا حسبي الله ونعم الوكيل.
As many in the comments note, this video is from YouTuber Adventure Allah, and most agree that it's one of the most realistic hauntings they've seen. Is it real or just all camera angles? Redditor Nav in Person has another theory. They wrote, it's just the house settling. I think we can all agree that the other explanation is a tad more exciting. State-run buses that run through Hamashal Road Transport Corporation, or HRTC, are known to have some of the most treacherous bus routes in the world. Unpaved, muddy, and wet roads are just the beginning. There's also the landscape, mountainous and threatening. Here's just one of those routes, captured on camera. On the route Manali to Kannur, the ride is slow going as the roads are wobbly trenches in the mud. In this video, you see a train of buses precariously rocking back and forth as they meander alongside tall piles of snow, rugged mountains towering in the background. The large buses don't look so much like they're driving, rather they look like they're hopping. The cravats in the muddy road are assumingly frozen over, resulting in a jackhammer of a ride. And while the cliff edge on the right-hand side of the buses don't appear to be a clear drop-off, it's safe to say that one small overcorrection in the mud could potentially send a bus rolling down the mountain. I'm going to play it safe and steer clear of those routes. A YouTuber in Thailand named Hassan Natapong is exploring a ghost town full of abandoned buildings to investigate. There are far too many abandoned places to go exploring on foot, so after a while he uses a drone with a high-resolution camera to take a closer look and see what mysterious sights he can capture on video. Hassan is just a normal YouTuber and not a ghost hunter by any means, so you can imagine his surprise when he finds a mysterious figure in all white wandering down the road like a zombie or something.
ไม่มีอะไร เฮ้ยไทยฮะอะไรวะเนี่ย เฮ้ย เฮ้ยสันเดี๋ยวเอาโดนแกเหรอ
He tracks the strange figure with his drone and watches as it does a bizarre walk, arms outstretched, up an unkept yard and into an abandoned house, seemingly at random. The way the figure shambles from left to right does not look like a ghost sighting, but it could be someone who is about to drop from exhaustion and needs help. So Hassan knows he needs to find this person fast before it's too late. He can see his drone flying overhead, and so he follows it to the abandoned house where he saw the mysterious figure go into. The inside is trashed and large sections of wall are completely gone. It doesn't look safe for anyone to live in here, and I wonder if this is where someone would crawl to live out their last moments in relative peace. He looks everywhere, even on the second floor, and finds no evidence that anyone is here. As he goes back down the missing staircase, you can see nobody is there. But when he gets to the bottom of the steps, he sees a little ghost girl kneeling under the stairs with long black hair over her eyes.
กลับกันดีกว่าครับไอ้ไก่เนี่ยมันไม่สบายกับเพื่อนเลยครับผู้ชม
I say this could be a ghost sighting because there's no way to have missed her going up these steps. I'm guessing that he must have not noticed her presence until he was editing the video much later. Then again, considering this looks like a very generic representation of a ghost, kind of like the movie The Ring. It's also a pretty big coincidence that he just so happens to be filming over his shoulder when she appears, so I think it could be fake after all. A YouTuber named Underwater Ireland explores a cemetery on a dreary day. Crows cackle loudly overhead like a warning not to go any further as she treads sacred ground.
They look like Celtic type of crosses.
Underwater Island looks down and notices that all of the markers have a wide gap. I have never seen any cemetery with this problem before, have you? If I didn't know better, it almost looks like the buried have been trying to claw their way out. She sets up some cameras and records overnight, and this is what she finds the next day.
Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There! Did you see that flash?
And this is the same shot from a different angle. Also, notice how the gate opens here. Okay, so this frowning man wearing a helmet is what the image looks like when the video is stopped. Is this special effects, or did a spirit really come face to face with the camera moments after opening the entrance? Restaurant workers from Sansom Park in Texas think they've caught an authentic ghost sighting on CCTV video. A dark paranormal mist that exits the passenger side and goes into the building. I would say that this was an insect crawling across the camera, but watch closely and at 2 minutes and 4 seconds you'll see a flicker of lines across the screen moments before the ghost appears. EMF interference like this could be an indication of something paranormal. They felt this place was haunted for a long time and are finally excited to have proof. Tell me if you believe them. Some haunted places are meant to be left alone. The old Washoe Club in Virginia City, Nevada is one of them. Posted to the Ghosts subreddit by I'm the Cat Daddy. This video footage explores the Washoe Club in one of the nation's first industrial silver mining cities of the Old West. Prospectors arrived during the mid to late 19th century in order to stake their claim, and with money came the need to spend it. That's where the old Washoe Club came in, also known as the Millionaires Club. This was a place where anything goes, with one main entrance and 2 secret entrances to keep the VIP's secret shenanigans under wraps. The Washoe Club also doubled as a holding cell for the passed away. At least one room did, as passed on individuals were placed there until gravediggers were able to properly bury. With such a sordid history, of course, myths and legends are abound. 3 ghosts are said to haunt the place. A blonde apparition called the Lady in Blue haunts a spiral staircase. A small ghost girl is somehow lost there. And lastly, a prospector causes trouble around the bar, disappearing drinks that are left unattended, and drinking the shots that the bartenders leave for him when they close for the night. This video doesn't show these full-bodied apparitions, but does unveil a paranormal incident. As the Redditor explains, he and some army buddies decide to explore the Washoe Club for paranormal activity. He writes, "We were told by a few ladies who ran an occult store in Sparks, Nevada, to look out for a dark entity named Steve. He apparently likes to close doors in a room called the Red Room." Though not in this video, during an EVP session in the club, they asked for a name and received Steva in response, and that wasn't the ghost's only response. As one of the bros provokes the ghost and asks it to answer them, a nearby door starts to close on its own. The men start screaming and flee the scene. The Redditor says they all felt Steve's presence in the club, and he continued to slam doors as they collected their gear. They also felt their jackets being tugged on and a finger ran up one guy's back. I was thinking you probably shouldn't provoke a ghost like this, and many in the comments agree with that statement, while others who also investigated the club attest to similar paranormal happenings there. Is this place next on your paranormal bucket list? I think I'm gonna stay very far away from this place. YouTube team Rota X Investigaso Paranormal explores this haunting place where something horrible happens. As they walk in, they sense there's someone there.
Eu acho que tem uma pessoa aqui, olha.
As he introduces himself, it sounds like someone runs off into the darkness.
Meu nome é Marco.
Aqui, Marco, na frente, aqui.
They get back to their investigation, addressing the spirits.
É o espírito que uma vez falou. Opa, cara. Vamos fazer uma pergunta aqui. Fala aí, pergunta.
Boa noite. A presença que está aqui é alguém que partiu, que estava aqui na tragédia?
In one dark and scary room, their device goes off.
Espírito maior. Por isso a equipe Rota X pede licença para estar entrando aqui.
And a second time.
Tá, obrigado pela sua resposta, tá bom?
And then a third time.
Tá, alguém faleceu aqui, né? E você poderia me dizer
While the readings are interesting, I'm more intrigued by the person they sensed in the building who seemed to escape. Josh is afraid of heights and his family is giving him a hard time about it. They bet him some money that he won't be able to stay on the ledge of a watchtower for long. He takes the bet and this is his immediate reaction.
Oh my god. Can't be so lucky. No.
You gotta be out for 1 whole minute.
Josh's family ups the ante to $10 if he can make it all the way around the walkway. Pale and shaky, he inches his way across the platform, timidly clinging to the wall at times to keep from falling over. At one point, it looks like he isn't going to make it much longer.
Landscape out here.
Okay, I'm ready to turn around.
Nope.
I can't do it. There's people in the way. I can't stand up here for this long.
But he summons all of his strength and eventually makes it full circumference. If you have a fear of heights, then let me know if you would be willing to walk around this tower for $10 like Josh just did, or if it would take way more to make you budge. This little 2.5 foot tall fuzzy robot is called Leonardo, or Leo for short, and in 2002 when everyone was playing PlayStation 2 and watching DVDs, this robot was already learning how to think, feel, and respond. Leo was created at the MIT Media Lab in Massachusetts. I know that doesn't look scary at all, but that's the whole point. It's designed so you won't want to be afraid of it. They want you to come closer so that it can learn from you. There's something disturbing about a fuzzy robot exploiting our natural trust for cute animals as a way to help it learn more about interacting with people. I doubt that they would need to downplay its appearance so greatly if the concept of AI wasn't so dangerous and scary to begin with. Anyway, Leo quickly learned how to do stuff after being shown only one time.
Press the red button.
Note how in this next part, Leo is not asked to press the buttons at all, but does so anyway.
Have you learned to turn all the buttons on? Very good.
Again, Leo was not asked to press them. It was asked if it knew how to press them. It correctly assumed that was what she was going to ask of it next. Even today's robots can barely predict what humans want, but this robot, who is 2 decades old, is able to make its own decisions. Next, a scientist flies an object around so that Leo can learn how to track things with its mounted camera eyes. Much like Leo's harmless appearance, they use an Elmo doll to disarm our senses. It's able to track this Elmo doll without problem. It learns how to identify and track red things if asked. Here it remembers Big Bird's face and is able to find Big Bird when asked.
Can you find Big Bird?
Leo has a neutral expression at first. When the scientist says that Big Bird is a friend, Leo likes him.
Hey Leo, look at Big Bird. Don't you think he's great?
It can also be trained to not like something.
Leo, Cookie Monster is very bad. He's very bad, Leo. He's a scary monster who wants to get your cookies.
If Leo can be taught how to fear or love, then he could also be taught how to hate and destroy. Think about what a bigger robot could do with these abilities. It could be trained to be a police robot, a self-learning face-scanning cyborg that can be taught to do great good or great evil. Or even more terrifying, maybe it could come to the conclusion of what's good and what's evil on its own. Leo could be an early prototype for all that and more. Again, this is just an opinion, but it creeps creeps me out to keep robotic AI looking as soft, cuddly, and unassuming as possible. Turn the volume up on this one. Posted to the Haunted subreddit. Work at Home Freak 99 writes, I live alone and this is a motion or light activated camera. That's me just turning off the light and heading off to bed. Now listen. A loud gravelly voice says either help, go, or come. Depending on which Redditor you ask, personally I hear the word help in a sort of Yelp fashion. The OP writes, if I had heard that voice, I would have flipped out. They also say the sound came from the kitchen where the camera is set up, because creepy stuff happens there sometimes. Many are saying the voice is creepy AF and sounds like the Cookie Monster. Regardless, this Redditor should probably try their luck with one of the options currently on the board before this monster takes matters into its own hands. A tech-savvy phantom is entering the chat. YouTuber Amitav Paranormal Tech YT went live on his YouTube channel and his REM pod activated, so he set up a security camera in the room at night. This is what happened. An invisible entity enters. And not long after this happens, a light turns on and off. This footage is creepy for sure, but is it paranormal? Or can it be explained? I'm not sure, but I'm looking forward to seeing what Amitav captures next. Seeing an object move in an abandoned haunted house may be a sign that you're not alone. Published to YouTube by Mo Sarji in April of 2020. The channel captured paranormal activity in a haunted house at 3 a.m. The haunted house in question is unsettling. Sitting deep in the forest, the wallpaper is peeling from the walls, and the state of things is decrepit. While taking all this in, Mo explains that this isn't their first visit here. He explains all they've already experienced in this haunted place, and they're about to be faced with even more. At around 4 minutes 40 seconds, some in the comments point out a figure moving in the far doorway. Later, at around 7 minutes 57 seconds, Mo and his partner hear a strange humming in the house.
Sounds like humming.
If that wasn't enough, as Mo speaks to the spirits around 16 minutes 40 seconds, the fan starts to move.
Is there anything here with us right now? Well, we do know you're here.
First clockwise, then counterclockwise. This is something that apparently occurred before. Mo explains that he has a sudden headache, which he's experienced previously at other extreme hotbeds of paranormal activity. Don't know about you, but I think it's time to close the case file on this haunted house. That is, if you want to play it safe. Vorkuta was a coal mining settlement during the Soviet era. It has since become a semi-deserted wasteland. Published by Vagabond, this adventure seeker went to check out the ghost town at the end of the world.
Here is roughly more than 200 people. On the background of such amount of abandoned buildings, an active mine looks surrealist.
Traveling there by train, the only accessible means of transport to the area, he encounters the first steam engine that ever appeared in the area in 1944. The once thriving city was served by 13 coal mines in its heyday, where workers received a good salary and twice the pay they might back home due to the added northern coefficient pay. Directly across from clean, bright offices are empty, derelict buildings. Other empty structures are topped with massive piles of snow. Atop an enormous 9-story building is a phrase that translates to "Glory to the conquerors of Arctic territories." Vagabond also takes in the coal miners' quarters, located on the Vorkuta River embankment. Would you be able to live in this half-abandoned Arctic town? You'd better learn to love the cold. This one is especially haunting. Published to YouTube by TVR Exploring in December of 2019. The uploader explains that Ingolchek was a mining town that was abandoned twice, once by the dissolved Soviet Union, and then again by a foreign company that tried its hand to little success. But it wasn't the environment that surprised TVR exploring, it was the encounter he had underground that he can't get out of his head. After TVR films the remote mountainside and the surrounding buildings, he heads into the mine, where he's looking at some rusted old gear left on a workbench. You start to hear howling from deep within the tunnel. There's water dripping, which drowns out the sound somewhat, but you can hear distinctly the otherworldly scream as TVR describes it. Although he's a self-proclaimed skeptic and doesn't necessarily consider the sound to be supernatural, TVR says all the hairs stood up on the back of his neck. After reflecting, he still doesn't know its source, and he asks his audience for their thoughts. Some say it's obviously a ghost or demon, others the wind, and still others consider it may be hydraulic. Although there's no definitive answer, everyone seems to agree that this man is extremely brave. Thank you so much for getting me to 50,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Let's get to 60,000 subscribers next. Thank you.